Hi, in this video I'm going to talk to you about water neutrality and nutrient neutrality, those two big issues that are undermining development in the southwest of England. In addition, towards the end of the video, I'm also going to give you a great strategy that you can use to get planning on greenfield sites without the need to offset water. Yes, you can actually build on greenfield sites without the need to offset water. But for that and more, I'll see you in the next section. Welcome back. My name is Tapiwa Gavaza. I've got a big question for you. Have you been stuck with water neutrality at planning stage? Or you can't even submit your planning application because you do not have a water neutral strategy? Are there major issues and considerations that are stifling your development or stopping a land deal from proceeding because of water neutrality? If that's the case, you've come to the right channel. On this channel, we provide bi-weekly hacks, strategies, and information about how you can actually achieve water neutrality. I've worked in the development sector for the last 20 years and have been able to provide water neutral strategies in Horsham, Crawley, and Sussex. I'm delighted to have worked with people like Inspired Villages, Substantial Group, Barclay Developments, and so forth in these areas to deliver for them their schemes that are water neutral. Whether your site's a greenfield site or brownfield site, I'll be sure to be able to find you a solution to deliver that development. My experience in the development sector has ranged from working on strategic sites up to 5,600 units all the way down to a single bungalow. And each and every project is peculiar, has got its own challenges, and I deal with them with the same level of expertise, intrigue, and interest to deliver the workable solution. So in the next section, we'll discuss more about how water neutrality and nutrient neutrality issues are really undermining development. And towards the end, we'll actually have a moment to discuss about the fact that you can actually deliver a water neutral development on a site that is in the green belt without the need for water offsets. Thank you. Now, getting back to the main subject matter, water neutrality. Water neutrality is the designation that requires all new development within Horsham, Crawley, and parts of West Sussex to deliver a scheme that does not increase the water demand in that area. That's in simple terms. What that means for developers is that with each and every planning application, you need to submit a water neutral strategy. The water neutral strategy would demonstrate to the council that you're not exceeding the current demand in the entire catchment, which means that when you install your development, you either have to offset through a previous use associated with the site or to find a way of retrofitting another site and offsetting to give you the water demand that you need. Why has this come about? In late 2018, the European Court of Justice dealt with two cases, particularly dealing with habitats and wetlands. Both cases resulted in Natural England instigating what we now have as the water neutral requirements for new developments in Horsham, Crawley, and parts of West Sussex. This has been a significant burden for developers as they seek to get planning for their sites, and it is undermining the delivery of houses in those areas. In the next section, we'll talk about how nutrient neutrality is further compounding this situation and undermining the efforts that are being made to get planning and deliver housing in southwest England. Welcome back. In this section, we're going to talk particularly about nutrient neutrality and how it has seriously undermined the delivery of planning consents within the southwest of England. Now, 3 years ago, the Solent was targeted by Natural England to deliver nutrient neutrality. The major issue associated with this is that the zone that is now applicable in terms of delivering nutrient neutrality has escalated well towards the north, stretching all the way into southern Wales, covering areas like Somerset and as far west as Cornwall. The geographical area has expanded significantly, covering a total of 32 local planning authorities. The implication is that on an annual basis, surveys estimate that up to 11,000 units are being held back from delivering planning. Now, if you consider the Solent region, for instance, where you have 8 local planning authorities as a case study, in that area, we know that planning consents have dropped by a staggering 63%. We do have a very exceptional case in Farnham, for instance, where planning consents in one particular year fell down to as low as 27 units. If you consider this projectile, it means that we could anticipate that water neutrality, on the other hand, could have a similar impact in terms of planning delivery, and hence significantly reduce the opportunity to get planning for those affected areas. The implication is that it is most likely going to extrapolate beyond just the 3 regions that are currently affected, that is Crawley, Horsham, and West Sussex, for a number of particular reasons. Firstly, there is a strong correlation between water-stressed areas and areas that are experiencing high levels of nutrient pollution. The other fact is that it is quite difficult to really trace the linkage between direct and indirect causes of pollution, which means that if you've got more water within the aquatic environment, you've got better chances of maintaining a good water balance and better quality. And hence, hot on the heels of the nutrient requirements, we anticipate that the water neutrality requirement, there's going to be an expansion. What else do we know about this matter? We do know that the Environment Agency has estimated that at the moment we are overmining our aquifers to the tune of 700 million litres per day. This has a direct correlation to the amount and density and concentration of pollution that is being experienced in rivers that are associated with aquifers. It makes scientific sense that in those areas where there are nutrient neutrality issues, a water neutrality strategy be applied to help cope with pollution issues. And as we're already unsustainably overmining those areas, there's a great expectation then that we need to reduce our water consumption. The implication for developers is that going forward, there's going to be this incremental requirement for you to look for solutions to find water where it's not available. Which then brings you to the consideration that for any sites that are going to plan in the next 2-3 years, there should be an expectation or a proactive action by developers to actually consider a water neutrality strategy as part of the master planning way before you make a planning submission. This consideration needs to be made so that you do not undermine your own planning submission, but also to make sure that there is great integrity in your infrastructure biodiversity strategy, because water neutrality, you can only deal with it at a great scale and do it proficiently if you consider all the other infrastructural considerations like drainage, your M&E strategy, your salt strategy. Everything is encapsulated, so you need to really consider it early on in the development cycle, particularly way before you make a planning submission. And that is where we can help with our expertise of having worked on significant strategic sites and even on smaller sites too. Now that you've sat with me and have had a chance to listen whilst I made this presentation to you, I can tell you about the bonus section that I mentioned earlier on. As I said before, it is possible for you to deliver a water neutral development on a greenfield site. There are 3 considerations that you need to make. The maximum number of units that you can accommodate on a greenfield site will be up to 30 units. The major consideration is that that site you should be able to install a borehole on it. So in terms of its location, you need a yield of at least 20,000 litres per day or 20 cubic meters per day, which is sufficient to provide enough water for those 30 units. However, you need to be very stringent with your water demand for the site, which means that you need to have water efficient fittings, and more often than not, you need to have a recycling system, particularly a grey water recycling system, which will help you to reduce your water demand to about 85 litres per person per day. The emphasis on having a recycling system is to get the buy-in from the planners that you are actually utilizing water in a sensible way. You're maximizing the use of water that you've already used. So for instance, a grey water recycling system allows you to reuse the water that has come from your showers, that has come from your sinks, and you could use that water for toilet flushing, for washing clothes again, and also for irrigation or car washing. So that's the technique. If you can install a borehole, go to about 85 litres per person per day, and facilitate grey water recycling, you can deliver a water neutral development on a small site up to 30 units. It has been great having you here. I hope you found this information informative, and I hope that you're going to subscribe and like, and obviously share the comments so that we can all learn in this fraternity of ours, which concerns development. I've provided links below of all the relevant publications and materials that are relevant to what I've discussed with you today. I hope you also find that useful. So if you need help with any of your sites, please feel free to contact us and we'll be more than able to help you take your scheme forward. So don't get stuck with water neutrality, get unstuck. Thank you very much.